What on earth has happened here?
So we finally painted our living room floors on our project Narrowboat, and look at the mess.
Theories on it becoming a chocolate experiment gone wrong from Mr. Willy Wonka's factory have turned out to be true. The whole thing, just like a giant chocolate bar. On the video it doesn't look as dark.
I think what we've done is we've gone in a bit too soon with the second coat in our eagerness to just get it done. And now what's happened is there's a layer sitting on the surface which is very tacky. I know a load of people probably think that it's just not cured yet, but I've used this stuff before in warmer conditions, and if you put it on too thick, the wax basically doesn't sink into the wood and it just sits on top and it creates this tacky layer, and I think that's what's happened.
Not quite the results we were looking for. It's not terrible, is it?
So we just wanted to show you guys the state of the living room floor before we crack on with the true purpose of today's episode. As a lot of you know, we completely ripped out our stove area, and we're going to completely recondition this area on the Narrowboat to look, hopefully, something like this. We've finally got it right and screwed up the protected fireboard, the hardy backer here. Becca has laid down the quarry tiles on the bottom. We've only just got back that damaged replacement tile for here, but up here we've got to sort the copper area out, haven't we, guys? Yeah, Beck's used very advanced cut and paste technology to create this image of what it could look like in the future. We had this disgusting copper that we found in our marina's car park, and Bex thinks that we can repurpose it for up the top here. So we ran it up to our good friend the Maverick's workshop here. He put it into his special machine. Bex got to push a special button, and our disgusting panels started to form into something very special. Bex then continued the process of trying to make our panels even more special by using a secret vinegar solution. The problem is we left them for a few days and now they look like this, which is really good all considering. In today's episode we're going to get these babies up. You've been having a few complaints from our viewers saying that we never finish jobs and it's really annoying. So we've compiled all the footage from here on and we're going to show you these things going up and finished off by the end of this episode.
Okay, so I'm just going to give the copper the last little bit of polishing up ready before I lacquer it, as it's just tarnished a bit from the vinegar, oxidising it from the last time I cleaned it up. Let's crack on with that, lacquer up these bad boys and get them on the wall.
Back with the wire wall. Lovely jubbly, perfect Bex, and then onto our expert lacquer procedure. So Bex has picked up a special heat-resistant spray paint lacquer. Look, extremely high temperature. We are clearly not messing around anymore, guys. So prepare yourselves for extreme high temperature lacquering. It is absolutely miserable on the marina today, so yeah, let's use a lacquer which is intended to be used at room temperature outside in really cold conditions. Like I said, extreme lacquering.
All going wrong, big splodges.
Yeah, maybe we should have done this in a warmer climate and axed off the whole extreme lacquering procedure. Can you see all these horrible little marks where it hasn't adhered properly? It's drying, so let's try and undry it. Let's get it off. Cold, soapy water is the way we're going, and yours truly has been called in to carry out the dry and high temperature lacquer procedure, extraction procedure.
He's not happy. We've extracted all the varnish and all the splodges now. Back to stage one.
So I was a bit worried about this. I said to Chris earlier, like, it's not the best conditions for doing it today because it's sort of like that quite damp air. It's not raining, but it's very damp. Thought it'd gone on okay, but immediately you could see that it just wasn't adhering to the metal properly. And I've done a practice piece earlier on in the week, so I know that it works okay. I just think the conditions are not right for it. The spray can itself probably wasn't warm enough, which didn't help because it's been stood on the boat where it's freezing. It's meant to be at room temperature, and then that combined with the damp air, it's not a good combination. It's not really the best time to do it.
So it's probably not ideal, but do you remember the snoring room at the back of the Narrowboat here? I'm giving Bex special clearance so that we can build our very own spray booth down here. I mean, like I said, it's not ideal. Whack a couple of bin bags up so we don't get it everywhere. We'll be all right, won't we?
This is really weird about bin bags. You like every time we go to the shop, he has this sort of like absolute fascination with them. He's like, can we get bin bags? Can we get bin bags? I'm like, dude, you've got some sort of bin bag addiction.
Is there a bin bag fetish?
Guess what's going on here?
There! No! The bags is gonna come!
Yeah, comments down below if you can guess what was going on there. Here is our spray booth, ladies and gentlemen.
Probably not the best well-ventilated area. Varnish could attach itself to anything, the ceiling, the walls, but it's got to be done.
Thankfully, there's only one person that doesn't mind working in dangerous conditions. Her name, Bex. And we've actually just noticed that we've got to put some holes in these copper boards. So perhaps it was for the best that the high temperature lacquer procedure didn't quite go as according.
So we had a little shipment of these little fellas.
I went foraging in the forest and guess what I found? Copper mushrooms. These are some copper rivets to finish off our lovely copper panels.
So these are going to be more for show really, aren't they?
They are. We just wanted to kind of edge it off nicely. That sounds a bit weird. Been toying around with loads of different ideas, but we've finally settled on this one where we'll just knock some of these little rivets because they've got a lovely little like button head on them, and they'll just go around the sides of the copper panels and just make it look all cool.
This is Becca's sort of crafty side coming out again.
So there's a chance that the lacquer could have cracked once we drilled through these, so it's probably for the best.
So I've roughly got them in the right place now, after quite a few hours slaving away, haven't I, Bex?
Excuse me, you've been slaving away sitting on your ass in this chair and I painfully marked these out.
Yeah, I've pretty much just been sat down here on this chair while Bex has been down here on the floor. Stop messing about and get drilling. I'm only getting away anyway. I want to do one, I want to do one. I didn't even want the copper, but now this is turning into some big copper extravaganza.
Now you've seen how gleaming it is.
Oh, I know, and as soon as you got those little computer images up, I was like, this is going to be a monster, Bex, but is it going to turn into a huge job?
I think I made an error there though, really, because I did this design. I'm like, yeah, this will be lovely, and then the reality of making it happen is hard. But Chris is well sold on the idea now, so I've got to pull it out the bag, or he'll never talk to me again.
Yeah, I mean, even if it does take us an extra 2 years now to complete the boat and go cruising, it's worth it for those lovely copper things. It's going to look a beast, I'm telling you.
Okay, all set for round 2, and this time in our special spray booth.
Uniform assembly.
You probably don't notice on the video camera, but this is now sealed, and it will hopefully keep its sort of colour and shine, like my expert opinion, even though I haven't done anything towards them really, apart from drilling in one of the holes in the wrong spots.
Yeah, no, because copper, if left sort of untreated, it will oxidise, and so it goes that really kind of dull kind of colour. So putting on the lacquer, which is heat proof by the way, I bought a special heat resistant one, because it's going to be near the fire, so this will hopefully just stop it from tarnishing for a while. I mean, it'll wear off probably eventually, but hopefully it'll keep going for a good while so we don't have to polish the copper every week. If you find either of us sort of disappeared, chances are we've sloped off back into this room where there's a bit of heat going on.
So you're actually meant to do this with proper industrial grade sort of heaters really, isn't it? Or just a proper sort of heater? We're just using 2 little blow heaters, blagging it.
This spray is more for spraying like calipers and stuff like that on cars, if you've got like a fancy sports car and you want to keep all the nice paintwork, or engine parts. So the idea is that you spray it and you'd heat it by actually starting the car up, because it heats all the metal bits basically, but it can also be used just on other types of metal.
A new day and time for the inspection process.
Not one splodge in sight, eh?
No, I'm well chuffed with how that's that's come out.
No, when you sort of see what happened to it when we done it outside, you start thinking there's going to be little areas where you might have that, but there's not one little splotch anywhere, is there?
It's just totally the wrong conditions outside. It was one of those where I knew it wasn't right, but I thought I'd give it a try and hope you'd get away with it, but it was just too damp. This little setup's worked beautifully because it's quite really good. Right, the time has come for my copper boards to finally go up on the wall. I'm very excited. I've had to do a bit of fiddling around because angles basically, and just getting the copper to hook over the top, but it's finally ready to put up. So let's have a crack at it.
We'll be using a special heat resistant sealant under the name of Victus. You've probably heard of them.
So I'm just going to apply a little bit of this, and yes, I know it says it's a sealant, but after doing some research online, this is all I could find that suggested it would bond cement board to metal. The copper actually sits really quite snugly on the cement board, but just to give it a little bit of extra adhesion should it need it, I'm going to put a wee bit of this on as well. It's heat resistant so it won't blow up or anything.
And this will hopefully help our lovely copper panels sit flush to the hardy backer. Yeah, our copper panels are dented in certain areas and we need them to sit flush really.
Just to do it quickly.
There you go.
This is how not
You're doing well.
to do this. Not one of my finest moments thinking, hey, you know, I'll put the sealant on the upright thing where it's likely to fall off. Yeah, you know, come on Bex. Anyhow, here we go. Wish me luck. This is going to take a bit of jiggling. Okay, so the first copper panel is on and I am buzzing. I've had to do something a little sneaky. So where the old copper had been stored and bent in the middle, the metal bowed out in certain places and we just couldn't bend it back into shape. We tried to use the Mavericks press machine and that didn't work. What I have cleverly done is I've put a couple of hidden screws here. These will be hidden by our adjoining bar, and they've just pulled the copper in nicely, and they've also just given it extra security, and also what they've done is help just secure it to the cement board behind. It fits on really quite flushly anyway, so it's not really going anywhere, but those screws just give us confidence that it won't just fall off or something. Well happy, so now I've just got to get on to the second bit.
Now this thing is starting to really take shape. It is looking awesome. All she needs to do now is hurry up and get that tile up, innit? Oh yeah, and sort that out too.
Copper panel number. So the second copper panel is erected, meaning that the last job is to put our rivets in. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of adhesive to each of the rivets just to make sure they're stuck nicely into place, and also the centre section here, somewhere around here.
More fire sealant in the crevice of the two copper sheets to put our lovely little middle bit in. And then Bex is also going to put some rivets in this bit too. It should hopefully make it all tie in and make it look all nice and lovely. Okay, change of plan. We've kind of decided to remove the little middle bit that holds the two pieces of copper together, but just for the time being. I know I said at the beginning of the episode that I wanted to show you the complete process of this and the final product, but it was just sitting out ever so slightly with a gap behind it, so we need to work on what we want to do with that. But the copper is up, that's the main thing. In the next episode we'll be getting these final tiles up, and then we're one step closer to it looking something like this. And don't even ask about the floor, we're not quite sure what route we're going to take with that. Thanks so much guys, this thing is going to be purring by Christmas. Mark my words. Bye!